tortillas. I'm Lindy. Today we're going to make Lindy's ultimate Huevos Rancheros. Why are they ultimate? Well, I've been on a quest to get the best Huevos Rancheros ever since my husband and I enjoyed a lovely rendition of them in Oregon. I think one of the biggest things that they did was they paid a lot of attention to their beans. They were very savory. They had a lot of great elements. What they ignored was the tortillas. I put a crispy tortilla layered with savory beans, some roasted poblano chilies. This time I'm going to add a little bit of California chili to it in a delicious sauce. You can make your own. I like this. Some eggs, little tortilla cheese. We're ready to go. Okay, to start this recipe, we are going to use the broiler to char our peppers. We're going to take our peppers and we're going to put them on our broiler pan, and then we're going to just stick them under the broiler until they get nice and charred. Once they get nice and charred, we are going to put them into a bowl that's covered with plastic wrap to let them steam, and then we're going to remove the skin. You can use this method and use the broiler, or you could simply slice these thinly and saute them in some butter or oil. I prefer charring them under the broiler and peeling the skin off than to sauteing them. It just gives them a little bit deeper flavor. So here we go. Be sure to keep an eye on them because once they start charring, they're going to char fast. Okay, so one of the things that I disliked most about Huevos Rancheros when I had them anywhere is that the tortillas were always kind of ignored. They were either just put on a grill, a hot thing just to heat them up. Sometimes they were actually served cold, which is, for a tortilla, actually raw. You have to cook these. I like to cook mine, crisp them up just slightly in a little bit of oil to give them a nice crunch. Then I'm going to dip them later into the ranchero sauce to soften them up again. It just gives them such a nice crunch and flavor. Okay, while those are cooking, we're going to do our tortillas. We're going to fry them in a little oil. Like I said, I used a neutral oil. It's a grapeseed oil. It's got a very nice high point of smoke, so it works really well. We just want to get them just slightly crisp and a little brown. We don't want them to be hard like you would in a tostada, but just a little bit of texture to them. You might see I have my black bean, savory black bean recipe back here, just ready to go onto the tortilla. So you see it's still a little soft in the middle, but it's crispy on the edges, and that's absolutely perfect, exactly how I want it. Put it to a paper towel to drain and do the next ones. Okay, so now our peppers are cooked. We are going to put them in a bowl and cover them with a little bit of plastic wrap. This is going to allow them to really steam for a few minutes and make the skin easier to take off. If you sauteed these, you would not have to remove the skin. You would just saute them with the skin on. But because I'm going to roast them, we're going to take the skin off and seed them and then slice oil that we use to cook the tortillas. My favorite way of saving oil, an old coffee can. I'm going to open up our ranchero sauce. And pour it into the skillet. This sauce is going to be used to top the Huevos Rancheros as well as dip the tortillas in. So you want to make sure the pan you use is deep, wide enough to cover for the tortillas. Take a spoon, stir that up, and we don't have to pay any attention to this for a few more minutes. Okay, now that our peppers have steamed for a while, we're going to clean them off. A lot of people will clean them off under running water, but that really dilutes the flavor of the peppers, so I don't. I just cut around, get my seed out, then using a sharp knife, I just start pulling the skin off. A little bit of skin left on will not hurt it. The skin's nice and tender now. But just using your asbestos fingers, just pull it off. Now that the peppers have been seeded and stripped of their skin, we're going to just do a nice little chiffonade, thinly slicing them. They're going to just add a really nice element of flavor. You won't find these peppers on most Huevos Rancheros. It's really, I think, a Lindy says touch, just to add extra flavor, and that's what I like to do with all of my recipes. Take something mediocre and turn it into something extraordinary. Now you'll probably see I have more than enough peppers for 2 of us. Probably this would do 4, maybe even 6 servings, but that's okay. I can always use some fresh roasted chili peppers, and just use what you want. Huevos Rancheros, and use the rest for something else. A quesadilla. So we're going to start assembling, and I'm going to move my little island here over towards the stove. Now, isn't it really an interesting and creative idea to put wheels on this so I can wheel it all over my kitchen? So I'm going to move it over here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to have almost the entire dish assembled before I make my eggs, so my eggs are nice and hot. Now I've preheated our dishes in the oven, because why would you want to have a nice hot dish on a cold plate? So I'm going to move my dishes over here. Notice we use cage-free eggs. Try to buy the best eggs you can. Then I have all my finishing touches. We've got our chilies. We've got some avocado, some cotija cheese, some crema, which I like on mine. My husband does not, so it's optional. And some salsa, also optional, but I think it adds a nice contrast of flavor over the top of the deep, rich ranchero sauce. Okay, so let's get ready to finish. First of all, I'm not going to cook my eggs, which I put in a little cup. We only like 1 egg because I want to make sure it's not going to be broken. So I put it in a container, and if it's broken, I'll put it in the refrigerator for something else. We have all of our sauces simmering away, nice and hot. Our beans are nice and hot. And the first thing we're going to do is take a small layer of beans, and we're going to put it on the bottom of the plate. And this is going to kind of make like a glue to keep everything in place. If you can't make your own fresh savory beans, you can use some black beans. Just add a little cumin and oregano to them and mash them lightly. Don't use refried beans. They're too already, they don't have any texture to them. So use a lightly smashed bean. Now, we're going to take the tortilla and dip it in the sauce. This is going to do 2 things. One is it's going to make it just a little bit more flexible, and 2, it adds a layer of flavor, and we're all about flavor. Put that on your plate. Now we're going to add our layer of beans on the top. Just spread those out. A bit of cotija cheese over the top. And now we're going to add our peppers, however many you want. They're really mild. They're not hot at all. They're just flavor. Now we're gonna fry our eggs. I think that one of the biggest mistakes people make when making fried eggs is frying them in too hot of a pan. It makes them rubbery and tough. And if you cook an egg gently, it will be nice and soft and tender. We like our eggs over easy because we like the yolk to run into our all this deliciousness. A little pepper, a little salt. Pretty much flip and put on top. On top of that, spoon some of your ranchero sauce. Add your final bit of tortilla cheese. Slices of avocado, fresh salsa, and, if desired, a little bit of sour cream. And there, ladies and gentlemen, from Lindy Says This Kitchen, you have the ultimate Huevos Rancheros. Cheers. Okay, so we put the egg on. Now we're going to put a little bit of the, I forgot the ranchero sauce, but that's okay. We'll put it on after. And ladies and gentlemen, there you have the ultimate Huevos Rancheros.
Say it again. Don't say Huevos.
And
battery's running out.
And ladies and gentlemen, there you have the ultimate Huevos Rancheros.
Now say it again and say from Lindy Says.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, from Lindy Says This Kitchen, you have the ultimate Huevos Rancheros. Cheers.